you know, you could sit here and be like, oh, we're changing boxing or we're bringing more eyeballs, but this is the real proof. Numbers don't lie.
Boxing was pretty much a dying sport. Jake Paul, him and his brother, man, these guys have brought boxing back to life.
That kid, Jake Paul's got something.
Got your hat. Got your hat.
The industry changed dramatically.
Jake Paul is good for the sport of boxing, but here's the thing, it isn't really boxing.
Big uppercut!
They're in it to become spectacle.
The biggest internet event in history!
We've been watching YouTube for a long time, and I think one of the weirdest, most unexpected things to ever happen is the Paul brothers taking over the sport of boxing.
Now, let's just remember that a few years ago, Jake Paul was doing this.
I'm Jake Paul from Bizarre Bar, and you're watching Disney Channel. Oh.
Fast forward to 2020, and Jake Paul was the third highest paid boxer.
Like, total. Like, he was
Period.
the number 3.
Not just influencer boxers, just in boxing.
Logan Paul even fought one of the greatest boxers of all time, Floyd Mayweather, and made $20 million in 18 minutes.
He's a tough, rough competitor. I was surprised by him tonight.
And it's not just the Paul brothers who are getting into the ring.
Something about celebrities fighting, like...
Yeah, it's just hella entertaining.
It's scrappy, it's dirty. It feels like watching friends fight in the playground.
People ask us all the time, when are you gonna box?
Soon. Potentially by the end of this video. Ba, 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 ba. You know?
There are a lot of lessons that creators can learn from what the Paul brothers have done, even for those creators who never plan on getting into the ring like us.
Never?
Or maybe not, yeah.
Never?
I guess for the right price.
All right, how the Paul brothers saved boxing? Let's break it down.
Watch the breakdown.
I hear a lot like, oh, YouTube boxing, celebrity boxing, you see what you started? And I'm like, yo, like, honestly, this whole craze that is happening right now isn't me. It was you, Joe Weller.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'd say it started with Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, Joe.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I imagine he's probably pissed off right now.
You know, I changed the game. I invented YouTube
Well, you
boxing.
did, yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
That's Joe Weller. He's a British YouTuber known for his vlogs, music, and pranks.
But in 2017, he uploaded a video of himself and his friend Theo Baker boxing in a small gym in New Haven, UK.
And it's Joe Weller coming out swinging early doors. Oh, he's catching Malfoy big time.
Subconsciously inspired by Conor McGregor versus Mayweather.
Gentlemen, let's do this.
I was like, well, they're crossing over and doing it, so let's do it for a video.
Swing and a miss from both men here. Left hook from Joe Weller.
Okay, so really quick, why does this video generate millions of views?
Well, the thing with boxing is it's literally two people putting everything on the line, right? You get knocked out, you're a meme, you know what I mean? Like, you're risking your reputation, your dignity, all that. So, like, it kind of is the perfect thing to, like, be a big spectacle and cause the world to stop. Because if you get two titans or two big, you know, names that a lot of people know of, and they're both like, hey, we're willing to risk it all. Of course, like, it's the perfect formula to be a big spectacle.
But the more you care about the people in the ring, the more interesting the match gets.
As the champion of boxing on YouTube, I am calling out for anyone that is brave enough to take me on.
As Joe Weller was calling out his next opponent, the boxing industry was already many years into a deep decline. And it's important to understand why that was.
Well, let's go back in time. Television made boxing explode in the 50s and 60s.
Right to the body, a left hook to the jaw.
And because of the TV coverage, the personalities of the boxers were able to connect with fans in and outside of the ring.
And no one was better at this than Ali.
Muhammad Ali!
Every day I'm in the newspapers. You get tired of reading about this.
I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. Man, dude, man.
After Ali, it was very clear. The bigger the personality, the bigger the check, and the bigger that the sport of boxing would become.
They call me Money Mayweather for a reason, you know?
It feels so good to be at the top. Mayweather picking up the pace.
This was my last fight tonight, ladies and gentlemen. My last fight.
So after Mayweather retired, in our opinion, boxing kind of took a turn. Now, don't get us wrong here. After Floyd Mayweather, there were still great boxers.
But boxing stopped being relevant to the masses. There weren't that many boxers anymore that people cared about.
Terence Crawford is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. If Terence Crawford walked down here now, do you honestly think there would be people down that street going, wow, it's Terence Crawford, wow, follow him around? No.
And to prove our point, that's not even Terence Crawford. This is.
The industry didn't exist for my generation. We didn't care about that industry. And because of that, there was opportunity. And no one knew who modern boxers were. And so there was just an absolute vacuum and an opportunity that these guys filled in that space overnight.
Enter KSI.
KSI obviously commented on my Instagram saying, let me fight the winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, live online around the world.
So after the match, there was another iconic moment in internet history.
Jake Paul, Logan Paul, any of the Pauls, I don't care. Bring it.
Jake Paul, Logan Paul,
any of the Pauls. Great moment, great moment. So when KSI called out the Pauls, they accepted, pinning Logan versus KSI and Jake versus KSI's brother Deji on the undercard.
We can't ignore the fact that a lot of internet content is based in drama.
These boys need a beatdown.
I could fucking destroy him.
Jake Paul, let's fight.
It's August 25th. I'm gonna knock Deji the out.
And so with that drama, became a very natural answer for boxing to actually finally be that climax, that finally these two are going at it and now we're gonna get to see them fight.
Now for two guys looking for a new narrative, boxing was a perfect fit. People who loved them and hated them would pay the exact same price to watch them fight.
I had a show the same night. I sold 6,000 tickets, you sold 20,000 tickets. I did a couple of 100,000 on a free-to-air sports channel, you did 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. So the second time around I was like, these f***ers rematch, I'm not missing out on the money.
The Rematch was picked up by a boxing promotions company run by Eddie Hearn, who is an old school boxing promoter with a long family history in the traditional boxing world.
Let's get ready to rumble!
So this fight took place at the Staples Center, and Colin and I actually went, because that's like right down the street from us.
We're walking the red carpet.
Woo! This fight was different. It wasn't amateur. 10-ounce gloves, no headgear. Somebody's gonna get knocked out. Being at this fight was crazy. It was packed. Completely packed.
Big uppercut for Logan Paul. KSI stumbling and bumbling to his corner. He's complaining. Nice jab. Got caught with the right hand. Ducks out of the way of that one. KSI looking like a tough man now. Throwing haymakers.
The winner by split decision from the United Kingdom.
So after KSI beat Logan, it felt like the YouTube boxing scene was getting a little too friendly. And this was kind of like the end of Logan's boxing story.
But it definitely was not the end for Jake.
Jake's next fight was with another YouTuber from the UK named Gib. And after he knocked out Gib in the first round, Jake really started to become the savior that boxing needed.
There is a big difference between Jake Paul and Logan Paul.
He leaned into the character of the problem child and started calling out traditional celebrities and, most importantly, traditional fighters.
Good morning, Conor McGregor. I know you're probably beating up old dudes in a bar right now. My team sent you a $50 million offer this morning. The biggest fight offer you've ever been offered, but you're scared to fight me, Conor. You're ducking me because you don't want to lose to a f***ing YouTuber.
Most people didn't care when Jake was just knocking out YouTubers, but the second he knocked out a professional athlete, lots of people cared. I mean, tons of pro athletes started calling him out.
Because Jake Paul is taking his fighting seriously over the last couple of years and is really putting in the work, and it's showing.
And after that, he fought his first professional fighter in Ben Askren.
Askren has been hit by some MMA folks and not gone down.
Yeah, I think that pissed off the fight community, definitely. Like, that was bad. Yeah.
What do you think when you see somebody that's not a trained fighter and making more money than you?
Let's be honest, the guy sucks. He sucks. He really sucks.
He started on the outside taking on fellow YouTubers who just wanted to do what he was doing, and then he kind of graduated with the Ben Askren fight.
He's starting to go in the direction of the right opponents who can maybe help him earn that cred.
He's able to get his name in headlines like no one I've ever seen before. I mean, he's just someone who knows how the internet works, and he knows what's going to be talked about, and in boxing, attention is currency. You need to sell these pay-per-views, and these guys know how to do that.
Even if Jake wasn't fighting himself, he committed to making people care about the fights. Like we mentioned this past year, Logan fought one of the greatest boxers of all time in Floyd Mayweather. And while it was a monumental moment, many people questioned how interesting this exhibition would actually be. But Jake was able to completely change that narrative.
Logan was struggling to get Mayweather to respond. You know, he tweeted him a couple times, tagged him on IG, trying to get him to make something so they can get some headlines, and Mayweather didn't give a crap until the hat was taken.
I'm I'm my own one night. Got your hat. Got your hat. Got your hat.
The story wasn't that engaging until that happened.
Now, the thing about boxing is it's actually the perfect 3-act story structure.
Act 1, you've got 2 fighters in a ring and you have no idea what's gonna happen.
Act 2, the fighters start fighting and that is the conflict. Who's gonna win? The tension starts building until finally,
Act 3, boom, the resolution, I won.
Jake was able to extend that Act 1 long before they even stepped into the ring.
I'm here to tell you who I'm fighting. It's a man by the name of Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, 5-time UFC champion, a knockout artist. Oh! If I beat you, you have to get I Love Jake Paul tattooed on you. But if you beat me, I get I Love Tyron Woodley tattooed on me, and you have to post it on your Instagram feed. Deal or no deal? Are you confident or not? Deal or no deal?
Deal. Even when you look at like his media workouts, he's doing acro yoga.
Everything is an opportunity for a meme.
He got a big booty, like, that's part of the reason I wanted to fight him. He's thick. Like, he's super thick. I wanted to grip them cheeks low-key when I first saw them.
See?
He was doing like a dance routine in his Tyron Woodley media workout. Like, what was that?
You
was
had to
like
practice that, right? That must be orchestrated.
That was like choreographed.
Yeah, that doesn't come out of nowhere, I don't think.
Whoever I choose to fight sort of gets to this whole new level. Their following is like sometimes double. And that's what we want. You know, I want to bring new eyeballs to the sport and grow people's interests in boxing.
This type of storytelling is helping to save boxing because it's giving a roadmap for other boxers to follow.
Boxers today need to understand that they need to build a reason for us to watch the fight now. We want to see the reason why you want to enter that ring and why you want to hurt this person. And that's what's been the biggest transcendence that Logan and Jake have identified.
I love what Logan Paul and Jake Paul have done in terms of showing the boxing public that there's a way to make this money and to gain notoriety for yourself without being at the mercy of the promoters.
Ryan Garcia is the best example of how the boxing industry is now responding to this new trend. He is a boxer and he's also a social media influencer. And one of the problems with being a boxer is you're only relevant twice a year. But then there's gaps. But then you can use social media to fill in those gaps in between those 2 fights that you do a year. And so he is now seeing the best of both worlds. And what that then means over time, that actually means you then get more conversions and more people being interested and invested in you as a fighter because they're seeing you more so every day on social media.
For Jake and Logan, KSI, and even Joe Weller, it's clear that win or lose, they will have a lasting impact on the boxing industry for years to come.
I definitely feel like there's a place for it in the world. And, you know, obviously boxing purists are going to be like, oh, it's bad for boxing, blah, blah, blah. It really isn't, man.
Yeah, it's making boxing come back.
Yeah, bro, it's done so much. The amount of young people who are now into boxing.
The search interest in the word box across the United States, the spikes are when you fought Ben Askren, when you fought Nate Robinson, and when Logan fought Floyd Mayweather.
This is so cool to see. This is the real proof. Numbers don't lie.
The Paul brothers showed us that storytelling always wins. And they showed us that if there's an industry low on stories, it's a ripe opportunity for creators to step in.
Some people want to see me lose. They think this is a circus. They don't think this is good for boxing. Well, guess what? It is. I'm here to stay, and I'm going to knock out this guy and move on to the next one.
There's a lot of things with creators that you don't see. Like when we're setting up a shot and how it takes us about 45 minutes to assemble this before we can actually deliver our lines. One of the other things you don't see behind the scenes is how creators can get their content across multiple platforms. And that's because there's a great company that handles this for creators called Jelly Smack. Jelly Smack works with creators to get their content across multiple platforms, not only to grow their audiences, but also to grow their revenue. They work with some of the biggest creators on the platform like Mr. Beast, Phil DeFranco, PewDiePie, but they also work with creators of all sizes. They actually generated $100,000 in incremental revenue for 2/3 of their creators last year.
Now, if you're a creator that thinks you can do this all yourself, Jelly Smack actually has an entire team of editors and software that helps to optimize your content for all the different platforms.
The best part about working with Jelly Smack is that it's at absolutely no cost to you. They take on all the financial risk and they'll actually even invest in the content to make sure it's finding the right audience across the platforms.
So as a creator, it's not gonna cost you anything, and from a time perspective, you get all of that time back to just focus on creating.
So here's how it works. If you spend all your time focusing on making YouTube videos, Jelly Smack will take those videos and they'll cut them up for different platforms. And then as they find audiences on those platforms, they'll monetize those videos and they'll send you a check at the end of the month. It's as easy as putting together this Rock'em Sock'em.
It's actually easier, way easier than that.
So if you're a creator who thinks you'd be a good fit for Jelly Smack, head over to jellysmack.com, click Get in Touch, and tell them Colin and Samir sent you. All right, Colin, let's play a game. Ready? Boom. Boom! Wait, I won.
No, I just hit your head first.
I hit your head.
Well, we have to play back the tape.
Who won?
I'm pretty sure I won.
Watch the breakdown.